It was once said that the true mark of an educated mind is being able to entertain an idea without believing it. And there are things that get in the way of us being able to do that as human beings because we're all fallible and we all hold certain biases and fallacies as truths in our minds that get in the way of us truly becoming educated. And I found a place recently that has dedicated itself to helping people get beyond these things. And they actually have some tools that help us deal with this. So if you don't mind, let's talk about the biases and fallacies that we all hold at some point in our lives. Hey everybody, welcome back to Grumpy Acres. Well, like I said, we're going to talk about fallacies and biases that we all hold true. And what this video here is the first video in a series of videos where we're going to talk individually, just very briefly, about each one of these fallacies and biases that have been identified and how we can, by understanding them, we can get past them. All right. So before we go on, if you're not a subscriber and you want to hear more about this and you want to try to overcome these internal roadblocks that we have for ourselves, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know whenever more videos come out. All right. Now, the organization that I found was schoolofthought.org, and I'll put a link down below to that so you guys can go check it out for yourself. But I've been going through there, and they've got some really good stuff to help improve our critical thinking. And one of the things they've got are critical thinking cards, and it's a set of cards, and each card has either a fallacy or a bias that people hold without being aware of it. And by becoming aware of it, we can look for it whenever we're making an argument or we are looking at an idea, and that will help us better understand what we're looking at or what we're saying and voice what we're saying. And the reason why I think this is important is because I'm always going on about how we need to be able to tell our story and share ideas. We need and the reason we need to do that is we need to provide a vision of the future that is better than what the people that are promoting stuff that we don't agree with have. We need to be able to paint a brighter picture. We need to be able to exchange the ideas behind it. We need to be able to tell people the ideas behind it in a manner that is intelligent, well-reasoned, and easily explained. And then finally, it has to be actionable. And by tearing everything down and getting through all the biases and fallacies that we have, we eliminate the ability to argue against it, and we paint a clearer and brighter picture for people. All right, so what we're going to do in this video series is I'm going to go through, they give a free PDF, and the link's at the schoolofthought.org, but they give a free PDF that has about half the cards in the deck in it. There's like 48 cards, I think, in this thing. I have to go look at it. But we're going to go through the cards one at a time and look at the individual biases and individual fallacies and talk about them and see if we can come up with an idea of how to combat them. All right? So let's get started. So the first bias that we're going to look at is called anchoring. And what that is, it's the first thing you judge influences all judgments that follow. And think of this as reading a book by its cover, or deciding the worth of a book by its cover. We can look at somebody and we immediately paint a picture of who they are by the way they look or the way they act, or by their past. So we need to understand that when we look at somebody, we need to at least temporarily set aside that initial assessment of whatever it is we're looking at, and we need to make sure that we have an open mind. By doing this, we're not letting those initial impressions fuel our judgment. Now, on the flip side of that, understand that this is a bias, and people have this, and they're going to judge you by the first thing they know about you, by your looks, by your actions, by your past, by your very first statement. So we need to be cognizant of that whenever we present ourselves to people or a group of people and we present our ideas. All right. So that's the first bias. Now let's talk about the first fallacy. Now these cards are in alphabetical order, so we're going to do this alphabetically just because it's easier. All right. The first fallacy we're going to talk about is the ad hominem. This is attacking your opponent's character and personal traits. And it's hard because they are probably the easiest thing mentally to do, is to look at somebody and start those attacks. And if you think about it, this ties really closely in with that anchoring bias, because we look at somebody and then it becomes really easy to start attacking them personally. And you'll if you watch debates or you watch people argue online or in person, you'll see that the people with the weakest arguments fall back on this fallacy the quickest and the most vehemently. And once that happens, it's really hard to recover the conversation and get it going in the right direction, because the person's mind, they've gone into a defensive mode and they are attacking you personally because they cannot attack your ideas. So be aware of this. Be aware of this whenever you're debating somebody or you're presenting an argument to somebody, or if somebody's attacking you in an ad hominem way. All right. So there we go. That's the end of the first video. I hope you found this at least interesting, and it's something that you can take going forward and using whenever you're promoting the idea of living a life done free, or independence and liberty, or economic freedom, or whatever. All right, whatever you're trying to promote. If you want to help the channel, go to grumpyacresfarm.com. Making these arguments is hard, and as long as you understand that you're never alone, either through belief in Christ or through having a community, it becomes way easier to fight these fights and make these arguments. All right, so you can go to grumpyacresfarm.com. You can get one of these cool Never Alone hats or a t-shirt. They're the Nasrani t-shirts, and if you haven't heard the story, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll do a video specifically about the Nasrani. Hit that notification bell, and like I said, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe, all right? Most of all, I want you to go out, think about your narrative, craft it, share it with everybody, become evangelical about it, and go live a life done free. It's in an attempt to undermine their argument. We see this all the time, and I'm guilty of it. I think if everybody out there is honest, at some point in time, we've all done this. So an ad hominem attack is, well, you look funny and you're stupid. So by making that comment, you're trying to undermine the person's argument based on personal traits and character. We cannot do that. We need to make sure that we don't do ad hominem attacks, and it's hard. Thanks, Milo.